Hi everyone, welcome to Crafting with a Cocktail, where we make crafts and cocktails all in one segment. Today is part of Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs Try It Tuesday collab, so I'll have all that information down for you in the description box below, and it's co-hosted by Whiskey and Wit this month. So if you can tell, we're going to do some Halloween themed DIYs. So let's jump right in, and then I'll tell you what today's delicious cocktail is. Cheers! My first super extra sunglasses DIY is inspired by an Instagram artist and professional artist named iMakestagram on Instagram, and she just makes these super awesome glam sunglasses, and she actually made a tutorial for how to make the ones with the letters. So I followed that. It's on a reel on her Instagram, which I will have linked down below, and I'm basically starting out with tinfoil and rolling them into snake shapes, and then I'm going to bend them into letters. Now I used two different techniques here. The first one, to make the first letter, is I rolled up one snake, then I started with the second piece of tinfoil, rolled up that in addition to or overlapping with the last piece. This worked much better than what my second method was, which is to take two sheets and roll them all at once. It ended up being a lot more difficult to manage. Now I ended up using cursive letters, so I'm making the cursive of the letter B here to make the word boo. I will say the cursive letter B is a little bit difficult to kind of identify in the final product, but I think that you get the point, and I really like how it turns out after all. So I'm just going letter by letter here and creating the forms, and then I'm going to kind of conjoin them all together the way that they should be, using some extra tinfoil just to wrap around any areas where they intersect. The way she did it was that she hot glued them together, but I know that hot glue doesn't really like tinfoil very much, so I just decided to wrap it, any of those areas that needed to be joined, with some additional tinfoil. But you can decide which way is best for you. Once the word is completely made out of tin foil, then it's time to wrap it in some masking tape. I am splitting mine in half because I have that super thick, like 2-inch size masking tape, and I'm just ripping off chunks by chunks and then ripping it down the middle to make long, thin strips of it, and I'm just wrapping my entire word with it, and then I'm reinforcing again anywhere where it intersects or overlaps. So where that curvy area where the B overlaps itself, I'm making sure to reinforce that area with extra tape as well, while also being mindful of like molding this into the right shape and making sure that it doesn't get too warped. And it definitely did a few times throughout this process of taping it, but then luckily it's just tinfoil, so it's easy to kind of manipulate back into the original form. When the taping portion is finished, then we're going to paint it whatever base color you would like. In this occasion, I'm painting my base color black because it will blend in with what I'm going to use to decorate it. You could use any color really depending on what you're making, what type of sunglasses. In the reel that she made on Instagram, she painted hers hot pink because it went nicely with the color scheme she was going for. And since I'm going for like a Halloween theme, I'm going with a black and orange style of sunglasses here. So I'm just using some regular plaid multi-surface black paint, and I'm making sure to do the front and the back and get in to the crevices as best as I can. So I'm not only painting with streaks, but kind of bouncing or pouncing or stippling my brush into all the little crevices and corners as well. And what you don't see on camera is once this side is pretty much done and dry, I do flip it over and paint the back side as well. Here comes the fun part, but also the most tedious part is the decorating. So before we get to fill in our letters with any sort of fun decorations, in her video she uses pom-poms after this step, but what she does first is exactly what I'm doing here, and it's hot gluing an outline of pipe cleaners. Like I said, I'm going for a Halloween theme, so I am using all orange pipe cleaners, to accent my black letters. So I'm just really being careful and going around it bit by bit. I do eventually get smart and get my little finger protector from Dollar Tree, and that's where these pipe cleaners are from as well, by the way. I'm pretty sure all of the items in these DIYs today you can access from the Dollar Tree, including the tape, the tin foil, the sunglasses, the pipe cleaners, absolutely everything, and in the next DIY as well. So like I said, I'm just taking my time and going around and hot gluing these pipe cleaners into place to create somewhat of a frame around our word. And the other important part to remember is to make sure to also frame the inner parts of the word. So like the inside of the O, the little sliver inside of the cursive part of the O, and all of that. Make sure that you get those details because they certainly count, and it helps make this project really pop. So our project is off to a wonderful start. Well, we're actually pretty much halfway there, but it's looking awesome, nice and framed. And the next part is to take this tinsel garland, also from the Dollar Tree, and I picked this silver one that has ghosts on it. I had also bought an orange and black one that had pumpkins on it, but for some reason I was really feeling the contrast of the silver with the orange and the black, so this is the one I went with. I'm giving it a little bit of a haircut, which I do end up having to do again later, so that the little tinsel isn't so far out that you lose what the letters look like. So it's up to you if you want to give it a little haircut before or during or after. I ended up having to do both either way, so just do what you think is best for you. If you do end up watching her reel from my Instagram, like I said, instead of tinsel, she puts little pom-poms in between, but I didn't really find pom-poms that I like the colors of, and I thought this would still be a fun, festive way to do this. Now, like I said, there's little ghosties on this garland, and they kind of flop all over the place, which I thought it was a fun idea at first, and then later on I realized they kind of get in the way. So What I end up doing after all of this is I actually end up cutting off some of them, if not most of them, and then gluing them intentionally in places where I want, where I think the ghosts will look cute, where they won't be flapping around or interrupting with the shape of the letter and things like that. So if you do the haircut before method, you could go right ahead and cut off all the extras and then just intentionally place them afterwards on your word and see how you like it that way. And you have more control again of the placement of the little ghosties. So I just realized as I'm voiceovering that I did forget to record a step, which is to take your sunglasses and also hot glue and outline them with some pipe cleaners. So I have an orange pair of sunglasses that I used orange pipe cleaners with, and I just glued them around the frames, and this would complement the orange edging of our word. Now I just centered where I want the word to be, so the middle letter, the O, is going to be in the middle of my sunglasses, and I'm just hot gluing all of the letters down so they don't all flop over. I do also go in and reinforce them off screen after hot gluing them nice and tight on the front. Now this is what we are looking at as our final product, and I can't wait to show you what it looks like on. I think these are seriously so fun and fabulous and yet absolutely hilarious. I was video chatting my best friend and I surprised her with them and she laughed just as much as I did. So let me know if you want to recreate these and if you think they are fun or a little too extra, which we don't mind around here on this channel. We are making a cold spiked apple cider today for our cocktail of the day. I made a hot toddy version of this in an old video from last year, and it's so good. And this is a pretty similar recipe. It's just got a few differences. So I am cutting off about a third of an orange and then a slice. And then from that slice, I cut it in half and then into fourths. I'm going to put one of those fourths into my directly into my drink as a garnishment, and the other one on the top or the rim of the glass for an additional garnishment. So I'm just starting with a glass of ice, and I like my drinks a little stronger, so I put about a shot and a half of just regular plain vodka in there. You can use a flavored vodka if you really wanted to, but I think just a plain vodka does the job perfectly. And so, yeah, and you can make this as strong or as weak as you want, or don't put vodka in at all. I've got some viewers who aren't drinkers, and that's totally cool. Don't worry about it. So I'm pouring in my shots, and then I'm going to fill up my glass almost the whole way, or to whatever extent you like, with some spiced apple cider. Now, this cider happens to be pre-spiced. Some of them are not. And that's just your preference. If it's not spiced, you're welcome to add some clove or nutmeg or ginger or cinnamon to it, but I just went with a pre-spiced one because I thought it would make it easier and blend better for a cold drink. Now I'm just topping it off with that third of the orange that I'm squeezing in to really give it some fresh flavor and some of that citrus that complements the taste of the cider so well. And like I said, I am garnishing my glass with one little wedge of an orange inside my glass and one on the rim. This is super good. Highly recommend. Let me know if you make it. All right, our second pair of extra sunnies is from a Instagram page called Sienna's Sunnies, where she makes them for kids and parents alike to match in these really fun custom handmade sunglasses. And I think they're so cute how they have different words and phrases and beads on them, and I really wanted to have my own pair and realized, hey, I can totally make this at a quarter of the cost and still look as great as those do. So I had pre-picked out some letters from this mixed bag of beads I have, just because, to be honest, it took a while. I didn't know what letters I had and what I'd be able to spell. So I went with the word boo in big letter beads and spooky in small letter beads, except for the letter K, which I could not find in a small bead. So it's got a big round pink letter, and I think it still adds to kind of the fun and spunkiness of this, so I don't mind. But you can write any word you want. Doesn't have to be Halloweenish at all. You can write absolutely anything as long as you've got these fun letter beads. Now, if you want this to stick long term, I highly recommend using E6000 instead of hot glue. That's because I have made glasses in the past that have beads on them, and the hot glue just does not, it's not good enough for adhering it. They will pop off eventually. So I made some really cool blue light glasses in an old video when I started virtual school, and as much as I love them, yeah, my beads did pop off over time. So I highly recommend using E6000 if you want these to last. My thought was, for the video's sake, I'm just going to quicken it up with hot glue, but as they pop off, I probably will replace it with E6000 because I really liked how these turned out. So I'm just customizing these to the way I want them, including making a mini pumpkin out of a smiley bead and a tiny little crystal bead on top. These are so fun because they're so easily customizable, and mine really felt like it was missing something, like it was just not balanced enough because of the longer word on the bottom right. So I thought to myself, what if I put a little ghosty on the other side? But the ghosts that I had from the garland were a little bit too big, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to try making my own little tiny ghost and see how it goes. So I really just cut a wavy line, and then almost like half an oval shape. It looks almost like a little tombstone or something. And then I take a Sharpie and I create a little face by making two oval eyes and just a teeny tiny little smiley face. I know this is kind of hard to see in the camera because it's so shiny and glittery, but it is really such a cute, unique touch, and again, an easy way to customize this pair of sunglasses. So I'll show you what Ghosty looks like up close in just a second here, but just keep in mind there are endless possibilities for how you can customize these. So with that being said, my last step is to glue little Ghosty onto my sunglasses. I'm gluing him right below the word boo and a cute little pink star there. And that's it for this one. These are so fun and easy and extra. And these sunglasses, as well as the last pair, were from Dollar Tree. And you can pick up an assortment of beads there as well, making both of these DIYs super budget friendly. Thank you to Unicorn Dust Designs and Whiskey and Wit for hosting this challenge. And make sure you check out the playlist below. Bye!